evening, great morning, great afternoon, wherever you're at in the world. This is We Got Problems, and we got solutions. I'm 1/5 of the team. I go by the name of Grindaholic. To my left, we got Trash Vegan.
How y'all doing?
And to my bottoms, we got Curtis G. Martin, the credit guy,
The frozen guy.
the frozen one. And then we got the butterfly mother bully. And tonight, the topic is how do we protect our babies? And this came up because we just saw a disturbing incident where a little boy got shot by the Asian community, and he was out on bail for what was it, $10,000?
$10,000 bond.
Yeah. So we got problems, and we're gonna try to figure out a solution tonight. Throw it to you, Trash. How you feel about the issue?
All right. Me personally, I look at it. We have to start first as parents teaching our kids their value. So when they're out in the world, they won't, they won't play with their life so easy. And they'll value their life as much as we value their life, because the amount of love that it takes for one single melanated body to get to full adulthood, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of love. It takes a lot of feeding. It takes a lot of prayers. It takes a lot just to get one life to full adulthood. And in the process, we have so many obstacles that's taking our babies out of here. The situation that was on the news the other day about the 6-year-old who had got shot by his neighbor for leaving his bike on the grass. The neighbor was upset about the 6-year-old leaving his bike on the grass, so he decided to take a rifle and fire through his window, and the boy was hit. He survived, but yeah.
Yeah, went through his arm.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it come to the point where you can shoot out your window? You didn't even go outside to shoot. You just shot through your window like a marksman or some shit.
It's the lack of value on a melanated body. I think us as a society, us included, we start in a mirror with ourselves. We need to know the value of these bodies, because we're so quick to walk them down. We're so quick to put them in the dirt. We're so quick to NIGGA this and NIGGA that, and we just don't value our bodies the way we should, and because we don't, no one else will. So it starts with value, putting the value on the body.
But what about for those that do value? Why do you think it's so easy for us to get walked down?
Because we walk each other down so easily, and that's what they're promoting on these TV screens. That's what they're promoting in this music. That's what they're promoting for our generation. The generation is moved by the music, and our music is in this state of being right now. There's just a lot of foolishness out there that's getting put radio play over and over and over again. And it keeps on taking our generation farther and farther into this rut where they don't really value the body anymore. Like we're not valuing our women's body. We're not valuing our male's body. So it's just like a lack of value on the melanated body at this point in time. And until we start valuing it more, no one else is, So that gives them free reign to shoot out the window and try and assassinate one of our babies just because he's upset about a bike. What, $10,000? He's out on bond in a few hours. So that's the value.
You only got to do 10% of that, right?
$1,000. You out on bond in a few hours.
For shooting a 6-year-old over a bike.
That's the value of a melanated body in this country, and we have a bigger problem than we ever really want to admit to. If we don't value it, they won't.
the value of a melanated body and what they can do with a melanated body is far different from what's perceived as far as how they project us in the media. Because if you know anything, the melanated body is worth more than anything on this planet.
But it's worth to who? To the
That's what,
people who selling it.
yeah,
Yeah, it's valuable to them,
on
yeah,
the black
but
market.
on the
yeah,
black
Right.
market.
that's not that they don't sell that in the open market. You can't find out how valuable that body is to the human eye because that's the one that's being assassinated the most.
Yeah,
That's the
Hey,
one that's
Crash,
being
I think you touched on a whole lot of topics, and we often group all of those topics in together. But when it comes to somebody else messing with our babies, what we really need to do as a community is everybody have to have their family in order. You got to, like, what do you have to do? You have to have your company set up, right? You got to have your wills set up. You need your trust, whatever it is that's going to keep your generation going, and you set something in place, right? Because I got to make sure I set everything in place so my babies will be all right financially. But when somebody bring harm to one of them, then I have to die for them. That's what it has to be for each person's family, right? Like we quick to protect our
bullshit.
hood. When we're in the hood doing wrong, we protect everybody's family. But for the normal working guy that makes sure we really okay, that people don't know nothing about, right? That, like, you don't know the value that other people bring, that's working people, that upholds the community, right? That be at those certain meetings and making sure our voices getting heard, and letting people know, like, no matter how bad our kids might be, they perfect to somebody in the neighborhood, right? You ever notice how you see a guy pass away, right? And they talk about all the good things that this guy done, but somebody else know him as a monster,
hmm
right? So we got to get ourselves in order, and then we got to make sure we protecting our own family. Then we got to protect our community, right? Like I teach my kids, you protect yourself first, not even me. You protect yourself first, you protect your family, then you protect your community. And I saw a clip of a guy, and I ain't promoting violence. Trust me, I ain't promoting violence. But I saw a clip of a guy. They interviewed him from this jail cell. He said, "Man, why did you do it?" He said, "Man, because the dude said he was gonna kill my daughter. He already had shot her. He told me, I promise you, I'm gonna kill her." He said, "Okay, I'm gonna make sure you don't." And he killed the guy. And he said he would do it over and over again. Right. So at some point, somebody in your family got to stand up for your family. Yeah, we should be standing up for each other all the way around, right? But at some point, we got to stand up for our own family.
But it's such an assault on the melanated man. That's what the system is designed for. So our families are equipped without a male. So we have a lot of women out here protecting their babies with everything they got, and the system is eating them up alive by putting them in on child support. So therefore, they can't have a job and go work. And now the guy's like, oh, now I got an enemy with my baby mama because she put me on child support. So she did this to me. So it's just a conflict in our households. We're trying to raise kids and stuff, and it doesn't, and we're not even taught to like marry our queens anymore. You know what I mean? We get baby mamas. It's just a cycle that keeps on going on that we have to start breaking. If we don't start breaking that cycle and enable that our men to be fathers in the household, to actually raise these babies and protect them the way they're supposed to, and teach these babies their values, and not be on no oh weirdo shit and shit. Gotta
And
have
that's
men
why
being men.
I said that you touched on a whole bunch of different topics. So those topics are good and need addressing. But to address somebody shooting a little baby for leaving a bike, man, that's like the whole community supposed to be hot.
Well,
The
It's not
whole
actually,
about being hot. It's about
No,
it's
I
about
ain't
the
even. I ain't
code
even.
we
No,
taking.
no,
What are we
no.
gonna do for that?
When I say hot, I mean like when somebody get hot about something happening, something happened about it, right? That's what I'm talking about. Hot.
Facts.
I mean taking action. I mean taking action. You supposed to be over there like if he was killed, what we would have light candles in March. Come on, man. Come on,
well, the
man.
I ain't
community,
like nothing.
that community came out against old boy.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
no,
they did.
no.
I ain't get the full scoop on it yet,
No,
But
I haven't, man, because I try to like especially with a little guy that's okay now, but I'll go read certain stories and I look at it and I come to my same conclusion, man. Like I gotta protect my family,
yeah,
right? When
That's what it
somebody
boils
bring
down to.
when somebody bring harm, when somebody bring harm to him, then I'm gonna bring harm to you and everybody around you. I'm gonna bring some harm to you, and it's self defense. It's preserve, right? I gotta preserve what's here, what's in front of me. Like I can't just let nobody come in and destroy, and then I supposed to yell out, "We should overcome this too." No, I can turn the other cheek. No, man. Hey, see, we quick to
oh, you forgot to forgive him.
we quick to grab these Bible verses, and I ain't got nothing against whatever people believe in. I ain't going against that. But we quick to say turn the other cheek, right? We quick to like forgive them, right? What about eye for an eye, tooth for
For
a
two.
tooth, right? Like like
Exactly.
what that don't
Then we
come
have
that don't stand up for us. Like when I watch TV
Not
shows and you
you're not
watch the
allowed to,
mob,
Kurt.
huh?
You're not allowed to, Kurt.
Well, you watch the see. That's the problem. I'm
Kurt,
allowed to. I'm
Kurt.
allowed to.
We
No,
already
cause
I
know the
you,
consequences, and they
I don't have to ask for permission because I'm allowed to.
Kurt, you a
Right now
nigga. You
that
supposed
goes back to say when I have my stuff in order. Like now I'll think about it. Like damn, I'm a like if I go do this, I'm gonna leave the other babies and they ain't ready to handle themselves.
look, Kurt. You
Right?
supposed
So I gotta outweigh you just did something to my son. Now I gotta outweigh, do I leave my daughters? Right? Like, okay, my
Kurt.
daughter's gonna be okay now.
You
I
supposed
know
to
this for a
you
fact
supposed to
too.
forgive, Kurt.
Okay, you can call it what you want.
Turn the other cheek,
Hey,
Kurt.
hey, no, we're gonna have problems.
exactly, exactly.
What
I'm
you
with
say?
Kurt on this one, all the
You
way.
supposed to turn the other cheek, Kurt.
Right? Us. That's what they teach us, right? And then we stuck with that. So man, like this topic can touch on so many topics, man. Like that's why our name of our show is we have problems, but we definitely like have solutions too. So the solutions, like we need solutions in a whole lot of areas, right? Like we don't even. I saw this girl. This she said, you know what? I go gentrify their area and sell it back to them. Like I don't even want to move there. I go buy a house over there and I fix it up and I sell it. Right. But
That's
Well,
business.
they should
we don't
keep
think
it.
about all of this type of stuff, right? Like or keep it. Like we don't think about that. But for me, I would fix it up, sell it back to them, and then I would come buy something in an area where like you gotta remember every time we get gentrified, we gotta move somewhere.
Hmm.
Right. So everybody already know where everybody moving in your city. You like when everybody get moved out, you like, oh, everybody over there moving to Northrop, everybody moving to
Hmm.
Lancaster, right? Like, so we supposed to automatically, when I go to Lancaster, start buying up houses. Now, what's even
Hmm.
farther than Lancaster? We supposed to buy houses out there and rent them out, like right now. And then when everybody move there, we own buildings there.
Well, they making us
Hmm.
like squatters. Every time they push us out, they trying to make us. What they really want to do is move us to the ocean.
Hey, look, every 50 years or so, no, they love that beachfront too much to give us
No,
that
they want to
beauty.
move us in the ocean. They
Yeah,
want.
Right.
yeah. Hey, eventually we have to start buying property, control the areas, right? Like if we really control the areas, why is some people even move to our areas, right? Because it's value there, right?
Yeah,
Just with all our culture, we valuable. So we got to teach our kids, like you said earlier, the value of themselves, to love themselves. It's so much goes on. We got to teach the man to love the woman to love the man. It's we got to start back teaching. You notice that they don't even teach home economics in class no more, right? Like I remember taking cooking in class. We talked before about me taking plastic, wood, auto mechanics. I also took cooking. I also
yeah.
took sewing,
Well, they
right?
taking these tools out of the schools
We
because
don't
they
work
don't
with our
want you to.
hands.
They don't want you to feed yourself. They don't want you to nurture yourself. They don't want anything that is available for you for success. You know what I'm saying? So the disconnect is you got a generation that's lost, and a generation right after that one is even more lost.
Right.
How do you fix
I hate
that
to blame it
problem?
on them. I hate
I
to
mean,
blame it on them. I hate to blame it on them because my generation was lost.
I'm just
we
saying,
see,
the
see what
narrative.
happens is each generation wake up and we realize like, damn, we had a lot of wasted time, right? But we was them same little guys. They
Yeah,
just get a little more aggressive, a little like the internet has made this shit crazy. The music has, like Trash said, has made this
ten
shit
times
crazy,
crazy.
right? Like,
But you gotta think who owns this
right? Yeah, no, exactly.
and who
So
promotes this to our people.
we have to get rid of the programming. We have to get to where we control our emotions, right? Like look, who knew H&M was going out of business, right? Like this subject leads into so many topics.
The
H&M going
coolest
out of
monkey in
business.
the.
Yeah, so you know what? We're gonna throw this shirt out there with a little black boy in it and call it the coolest monkey in the jungle. And what we do, we got emotional and we saved their company because they got so much publicity. And then there's so many people out there to where if we up against them, then the other people are gonna support them, right? And we see it from Zimmerman, right? As soon as Zimmerman killed Trayvon over some Skittles, then they had a trust fund, a GoFundMe, and they filled it up with money.
Same thing with Darren Wilson when he killed Mike Brown.
Yeah, no. So all of them. So anything we against, they show us that we so against you to where we gonna feed money over there. So it saved H&M is what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
we gotta learn to control our. Okay, coolest monkey in the jungle. Okay, it's supposed to be that little quiet thing. I ain't posting about it. Like you don't see me posting nothing about no coolest monkey in the jungle. I ain't saying nothing. I don't shop there. I just won't shop there. Right? Like man, it took me. I watched one football game a year ever since Kaepernick took a knee. And the only reason I watch one a year is because my brother-in-law, on his birthday, he want to watch the Super Bowl. So I watched the Super Bowl with him. But now I'm gonna double back and say, sound hypocritical. I bought season seats to the Rams because they next to me now, right? But that's a business move for me. Not only do I have a company that I want to look good, I'm gonna start like giving certain clients might get some tickets. Somebody I'm affiliated with might get some tickets. I'm gonna sell some tickets, and then I'm gonna let my son experience that and let him know like the value of that stadium being next to us and the value of our property. Right? They go hand in hand with the city. Like this is your city. You're gonna own this city, right? Like so, I'm teaching him those values and make sure he have ownership in all of this, right? So it ain't like we own the team, but we get them seats for so many years, right? We had those seats in our family for so many years, right? And now he can get that experience. I still remember when I don't think my dad even took me. His brother took me to my first baseball game, but I remember that as a kid. I remember my first popcorn at the game, right? I remember my first hot dog, right? So everything is about teaching our kids everything about life. Like I heard somebody say, like, man, we need to start teaching our kids business. And we think that's hard, but no, on every level, we need to be teaching our kids, right? Like when I go to the bank, I'm supposed to take him to the bank and let him see how I get money out. Let me see me putting money in. Let him see me opening a checking account. They need to see this stuff. Like I had no clue about none of that crap. I worked a 9 to 5 at J.C. Penney's, and one of the guys took a liking to me and we started hanging out. He took me out of town. I had been out of town selling drugs before, but didn't know I can go out of town on vacation by myself. Right? Like seriously, didn't know. He taught me that, like, dude, no, you can just go get you a room. Like, shit. We went out of town, like, okay, let's go find somebody to get a house for us. Right? Find
Hmm.
somebody to get a house for me. Because we can't get nothing in our name, right? Like we don't know all this stuff. So we got to teach at every moment, man. And then that's all the way down to like, I ain't justifying that guy shooting that kid, but we're supposed to teach our kid, hey, stay off that guy lawn because I don't want to have to hurt him. Right?
But see,
That's
that brings
that's
up
us being parents. That's us being parents in those situations.
Yeah, yeah.
right. But how many parents just sit there and throw their children in front of a TV and or let the schools teach them? They have to actually be present and help and actually teach them, not just
And
throw
you
them
know
a
what?
phone or a tablet or TV or because they don't.
and then sometimes you got parents
Hey, you
that
know
have
what?
to
That's
work
so true
multiple
though.
jobs.
So many
Right.
parents want to. So many parents want to go up there and go against the teachers. You know what I mean? In some situations, the teachers do be wrong, but in other situations, our kids be wrong, and it's just communication that needs to be had so the adults can actually find out what we're trying to do to get our kids to the next stage, because that's ultimately what the goal is. If the teacher is there to try and keep your kid back, they doing the wrong job. But most of those teachers don't be there for that. They just don't understand how our kids are raised. So you have to be a parent. The teacher only get your kids 6 to 8 hours at the most. They
And
gonna see your kid.
so
The rest of
Rhonda,
the time they on you.
so yeah, I love all that you're talking, but Rhonda touched on something that these parents throwing them in front of something. So that's a whole nother issue that we don't address. We don't want to address it because something happened, right? Like we don't address them type of people. Then when somebody get injured, the little boy get injured, now we want to ask the parents, what are they doing? See, we need to start addressing their asses now. Like, and then sometimes it ain't about addressing them per se, like me just going up address them. Somebody that love them supposed to address them. Hey, when you gonna get your stuff together, right? Like this ain't together. Like we got to start being honest with people. Like this ain't together. Like some people think living out the trunk of their car, spending the night over different family houses, and ain't bringing nothing to the table. They think that's living. That's not living. That's surviving. And you don't have to just survive. Here, why don't you come on in the house? I didn't have family members do it too, right? They got their groceries in the car and they bringing one bowl of cereal in and you staying with somebody, right? Like that ain't living, right? So we got so many issues to address, man. Like I do got problems, right? I do credit, and I know it's tons of my family members need their credit fixed, but some of them won't even communicate with me enough to where we can help them, right? And some of them,
Mm-hmm.
they would rather say, I won't help them just so they don't have to be held responsible or accountable, right? Like I told my cousin, he said, man, why don't we just have a big family meeting and we sit down and just fix everybody credit? And he was trying to say, like, if they want to do a clothing line, I'll teach them how to start their clothing line. I said, it ain't gonna happen because now everybody got to know they got bad credit. They don't want you to know they got bad credit, right? Like we in our feelings about so much to where, man, sometimes we just got to let it go. Like I told you, I used to be in my feelings about saying I used to sell drugs. Like it used to hurt me to even for that to come out my mouth because I felt like I hurt my community so much, right? But now I've been helping so long to where, yeah, no, I'm okay to say that because I changed.
But you know what? How many of your family members still look at you like that and won't take credit advice from you
Well,
because of your past? So they got to get over that too. Like,
it's some of that, like, but you know what, when it's ultimately said and done, whenever somebody, like, I didn't heard different family members say stuff or it get back to me, I'm like, okay, I'm cool because I didn't hear it, so I ain't going off the he say she say. I trust that he said that because you wouldn't tell me that, right? I know you ain't trying to get us into it, but at the same time, it's none of my business. It's an issue they working with in their head. I ain't gonna let that mess with me. And that goes with a lot of things. Like whatever issue that man been having, okay, let me keep my kids off of his grass. Like we have a neighbor, right? And she is a cool lady. Like I don't have nothing against her. She looked like me, right? But she came over and she said, hey, your kids, I think, playing basketball and they hitting my gas. And we got these automatic shut-off valves because we over the fault over here, right? So it automatically shuts the gas off whenever some shake. So, and she was like, I've been having to pay $85 every time my gas go off. I was like, okay, I'm gonna make sure I work on it. I said, but I'm gonna give you a fix as well. I said, ooh, I might not supposed to say this out loud, right? I said, make sure you tell them you smell gas when you call them and they come out and check themselves. You know what I mean? And then they don't charge you. But anyway, she's like, no, but I shouldn't have to pay. I said, I ain't saying that I ain't gonna stop them from hitting your gas. I'm just saying how you can stop from paying if it happened again, right? Like, don't go pay. But at the same time, I make sure I tell the kids when they playing basketball, hey, make sure y'all stay away from over there and don't hit nobody's gas lines, right? Like, we got to check our kids. I remember as a kid, we used to be bad as hell. Like the parents sometimes don't know what we're doing. And I ain't justifying this little kid getting shot. But I remember, man, we pulled off all my grandmother's shingles off her garage because we used to fly them. Right? The shingles on the roof. Yeah, no, we
you would
pulled
have
them.
got your ass beat.
No, they don't know till after it's leaking.
Right.
Right? Like, no, we did whenever we got caught, right? But then we start peeling the neighbors, and then you know, like everybody at garage where all the kids were totaled out, all the garages, because we used to raise birds, right? So we used to grab those and then we can fly them at the birds and scare them up so they can fly, right? But that was just crazy stuff we do because we didn't know no better, right? Like but nobody even told us to get off that man's stairs next door. Like I told y'all, we used to be on his
You
stairs, right? But at
get
some
off
point,
my
we got to take
lawn.
responsibility for our kids at every angle.
But see, as you got to remember, we had communities to raise families and stuff. It wasn't just one household raising a family. We had communities raising the families when we grew up. I can remember vividly Mr. Wheeler down the street, Miss Peggy down the street, like families that you grew up with, and they'd bop you on your way home if you got suspended. It wasn't just like you was going to just make it home. You got whooping still. I don't agree with whoopings. Like now, I don't hit my kids. That was a big thing for me. I don't hit my kids, but I remember vividly the whoopings we got. I remember getting whoopings at school all the way home, and no one stopped and called for help anywhere along the way. You just got your ass beat. It was kind of how it went, but different times. These kids now think that they have power, and they don't even understand that because we're not hitting you, it's because we're trying to do better. But they take kindness for weakness, and then you find yourself with your hands around your kid's throat.
Yeah, because they started talking to adults any kind of way, like they ain't nobody in that.
Listen, I'm gonna listen to you.
Right. And some of them get away with it. The
I
older
wish.
people are scared of the children
Sit down,
nowadays just
Belly.
by saying, just by them saying one thing, they don't want to start nothing because who knows how somebody is going to react or how the parents are going to react if you try and, reprimand their child. You can just say something to them and they snapping like, hold up, well, you should have did this shit a long time ago. Like your kid need to ask me.
I look at it like this. I would never speak to someone's child in a way that I wouldn't want them to speak to mine. And
but
I'll
people
go with
will
that
still
code.
get offended.
Yeah,
I could deal with
say
that.
It the nicest way. You can say it the
I
nicest
could deal
way.
with
They'll
that.
get offended.
I could deal with that, but the moment someone else's child becomes disrespectful to me and the parent isn't speaking up, I'll speak to the parent if they're present. But in that moment, if that child is being disrespectful to me or anybody in my realm, I'm gonna let that child know that that's not okay. And no, sir, you can't do that around me and mine because I'm an adult and I ain't gonna accept no little kid talking any old kind of way. And if your parents want to handle it, we can handle it however they want to handle it. But what's not gonna happen is a child isn't gonna disrespect me. Not in my area. This don't work that way.
I think growing up, we used to have conflict resolution in a manner of respecting your elders and all of that stuff. But to a certain point, when the kids see all these different examples of, like old heads not standing on a square, why would they respect the old heads? You know what I'm saying? Like, and we was talking before how, the generation before us, let us down because they allowed these people to violate us. You know what I mean? Like they brought the drugs in, they brought the big prison systems in and everything, and we didn't stand on our square like we were supposed to as a community.
Because we had an attack on our men. It's still an attack. It's always been an attack on our men. But because it's been such an attack on our men, it's like standing on our square. It's cool, the ones that do stand on our square, but it's such an attack on masculinity right now. It's an attack on it.
It was an attack on our resources.
What do we do?
We continue to nurture ourselves and protect ourselves and teach our youth. And we have to stand as a community, each one teach one. We have to find like-minded individuals, and we're better as a team. But you can't have no snakes in the grass. A lot of people come like they really want to be 1,000, but the whole time they have their own personal individual goals, and it trumps the team. So you have to find a team that's really like-minded about their family. Like you said, you got to find men that are about their kids. So when you see a man not being a man and not standing on the square, as you might say, with his family and raising his family, then you go ahead. If you can, some of them you need to teach and help, and some of them you're going to have to let go about their business because everybody ain't going to be who they say they are. You know what I mean? And you got to hold everybody for their actions, not for what they say. You got to hold each man for their actions and make sure they stand on their square on what they're supposed to do with their own first. And then we can move forward as a community. But I can't do nothing with you if you can't hold your own as a man and take care of your own kids.
Hey, sometimes we leave the men out there because hey, I was watching a clip of Monster Cody the other day, man, and he passed away, right?
Hmm.
The crazy thing about that clip, he was saying he was so mad at his father right now, and the
Hmm.
man asked him why. He was in an interview. He said, man, because he didn't take care of his kids, and then he got choked up. He like, I could have been so much more, right? So just watching him say he could have been so much more and get choked up, he didn't want that life. That life was given to him by the streets, and then we let that happen to all these youngsters around, right? But because you know what happened, the streets show them love. The streets, two, three dudes from a neighborhood can be together, man, and one of them hungry, they're gonna feed him, right? Somebody jump him, they're gonna protect him. That's why they love that so much. When I need something, I can go to one of them. So when they need something, I'm going with them, right? So because they build that loyalty with each other, man. So why we not out there, like, and I ain't trying to put it all on us, but we should be out there, man. Like we should be out there. The stuff you do right now, the coaching you do, right? Being out there at them games and motivating them kids, right? Like that type of stuff, leading by example. I told you guys, it's people around me, man, that excite me, that motivate me. I saw two people. One of my cousins, ex-girlfriends, she wrote 8 books. And she's a teacher and she got her curriculum in schools, and that motivated me so much to want books, right? And then watching DG with them books, I was like, damn, man, they got books. That's all I concentrate on is I want 6 or 7 books, right? And then now my cousin, he like, man, I'm gonna write a book. He wrote a book. His wife now is on her second book, right? So knowing that people see you and they get excited, and then they start like moving. They didn't started a charity, they didn't started a company, right? You watching them get excited. I got a cousin that used to go to the pen. He wouldn't be out a year, and he back doing 5. He get out maybe 8 months, back doing 7. And this last one, he said, man, I think they broke me, man. And you know what's crazy is I used to work at a spot that used to get these jobs in, and just so happened one came along right when he had got out. I got him in, man, and he totally changed. And he been home for years now, right? And
That's how
and
it's
and,
supposed to
and
be.
when the job ended, and then I went and started doing something different, because everywhere I go, I try to, if I can, I bring guys in. I bring guys in. Come on, man, this the little railroad right here. I'm bringing you in. I'm bringing you through. I'm gonna show you how to get in, right? And that's what we all got to do. But I still got people to this day that'll go back and say I wouldn't bring them in, right? And I tell them, I say, look, jobs ain't open. Like these people ain't just hiring to be hiring. Like I don't get the jobs, right? This company say we need 3 people, and they tell about 20 people this. Hey, we need 3 people. And I go, hey, I need one of them to somebody I know. I like, hey man, let me get one of them. They like, all right, Kurt, you got one. Now, when I call you, you got to move. You can't say, "Oh, tomorrow." Oh, I ain't dressed. You got to move. Like if you want it, you come get it, right? But I didn't have
Mm.
people they get in for whatever reason they quit, and then when somebody asks them, "Hey, shit, why you ain't doing as good as them guys?" Oh man, them dudes ain't trying to let me get no money. They need an excuse, right?
Hmm.
We got to cut the excuses in our community, man, and we got to get up and go get stuff, go do stuff, right?
Get
Like I
out,
said, with
get
you
up, and
coaching,
get
I
some.
need to be somewhere coaching, teaching some kids. I need to be doing something with some kids somewhere.
That's what I'm talking about. We have to teach our communities. We start in our household and then we build a community of like minded individuals. We start right there. Each one got their own talent. Everybody got something that they do. And you know what I mean? And it might not even be something that you do. It might be something that your kids are into that you kind of got to get into to support your kid.
Like
And when you
soccer.
do that, hey, I was at a soccer today. I was
Me
out.
too.
I had to
Me
go out.
too.
I had to go out to Ventura today. My son played his last coast game this year. Out there in a whole new world. Out here in Syker, out here is totally different for our melanated boys. Like you hard pressed to find a team full of melanated kids out there. It's just not
Yeah.
something that's really taught in our community. Our fathers are pushing their sons into football more, or basketball more, or something else, but not into soccer. But that's a multi-billion-dollar sport that's going around the globe every year.
Hey, look,
So
look, look. Something else we ain't talk about. Like we got to get happy with the person we see in the mirror. right? Like we
Mirror
gotta
work.
be happy with the person in the mirror. Like,
Mirror
man, I
work.
walk past the mirror and I look back, man, and I say little
Ma.
stuff to myself. Yeah, man, I love me some me, man. Look at you, you handsome guy. Like you gotta be able to say that type of stuff, right? And mean it, not just saying it to say it, right?
Hey, but even if you start out saying it just to say it, eventually you're gonna mean it.
Yeah,
So
and then you keep going, and then at the same time, when you show that out, right, then you show happiness, right? Like I don't like being around people that's just mean and mad all the time. Like I want to ask you what's
What?
wrong, and if you snap at me, I'm done. I got to get away from you because I don't want that energy. I don't want that energy in no type of way. It ain't that I'm scared. I don't want that energy. I want that happy energy around me. I want that fruitful energy around me. I want that energy that builds, right? I tell my
Nourishing.
son all the time, yeah, like, man, don't be mad, man. I have to tickle him sometime. Even when I might be a little upset at him for doing something, he get mad. Like, no, we ain't gonna get mad, man. I ain't like that at you. I just telling you stuff, man. I have to tell him now, man, dude, I'm just teaching you. And then I was telling my wife, I said, look, and my sister, I said, every moment that we're alive is a teachable moment. Like I just now really realized that with them, every moment is supposed to be a teachable moment. And we so quick to when they ask questions, quit asking all them questions. We yelling, quit asking all them questions. No, you need to answer those questions.
Or come
even
with
if
a better
they're
response.
Yeah.
why, why?
And that's my daughter. You tell her she can't go outside, she says why, right? And I can see parents getting mad. Hey, baby, because it's about to get dark, but we can go for 15 minutes. And every now and then I go like, okay, go for 10 minutes, right? Like I let her teach me a little bit, like, right, like go like, daddy, I got at least 15 minutes to go. Okay, we're gonna go for 10 to make sure it don't get dark.
Right, at least she want to go outside. And
Yeah.
mine thought I was torturing them when I told them to go outside. It's
Hey,
like
so I
what
got
I
one.
do.
What?
I
What
got
is
one that's like
outside?
that.
Right.
I got one that's like that. Hey, and then trash. Then those flip flop things. I'm trying to make sure I keep him out of the flip flop thing, dude. He
Oh,
big on it.
I wish my son would get caught in some sliders outside. You're a young man, bruh. Like if
Yeah.
you taking the trash out, I don't mind. If you in the backyard, I don't mind. If you at the pool, I don't mind. But you are a young man. There's no reason in the world that you should have sliders on, moving anywhere out in public. Like that's okay. That's not okay behavior. You need shoes on. So
Yeah.
I don't know. My dad grew up in a different era. You don't know if you was gonna have to push a truck or something outside.
Yeah.
You didn't know if you was gonna have to fight or run. You had to have
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
shoes
how I
on
look
when I
at it.
grew up.
I'm looking
All
at
that.
all black people. Y'all need to have on tennis shoes at all motherfucking times, cause it can go down.
Tennis shoes and a belt.
Yeah.
And a belt. Hey, look. Hey,
Hey.
y'all remember Monique talked about the girls being out with them bonnets on, right? See,
Yeah.
all of this stuff, like people was like, you know, she's right and she this, and then man, I heard the craziest comment behind that. So sometimes I get in comments and I read to see what other people saying about issues, right? And some people have valid points, and we need to look at that. Like we don't look at other people's points. What we'll do is because it's DL Hughley, we'll go with what he says, right? Because
Mhm.
it's Shaquille O'Neal, we go with what they say. It's somebody in them comments that got a good idea,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we got to start looking at that stuff and listening to that. And somebody saying like, okay, but Monique pissed off at these girls for wearing bonnets, but she okay with a man wearing a dress. And I was like, whoa. I was like, whoa.
Was she okay with a man wearing a dress?
You
Professor
remember
Ogilvy.
that?
Who's that?
You
Professor
remember
Ogilvy.
Yeah. I would let that one go for a minute. That was a little joke that they had going on out there.
But
Yeah,
wasn't it the
you
guy with the Cinderella dress on? When she
him
connected
too.
with him?
Oh man, that's crazy.
Right. So when
That's crazy.
when I heard that, I was like, I still liked her valid point. She still had a valid point, but somebody else threw that dress thing in there. I was like, whoa, that's kind of deep, right? That's another conversation, but I get it. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna say, everybody can mind their business and everybody can do what works for them. I can have my personal opinion, but it's my personal opinion. I'm so busy in my mirror that I really don't have time for anybody else. The
Hey,
little ones that fall under my umbrella, It's a lot of them that fall under my umbrella. I'm responsible to make sure I'm the best version of myself for them. I can't control
Hey,
what
that
nobody
that
else
that
do.
that trash. I don't like that mind your own business thing, man. I get it. Like I ain't supposed to be all in your shit, right? But
I still do believe you should mind your business.
right? No, I gotta mind my business, right?
Yeah,
My my
I'm
build your
my
minding
business,
it.
business.
my business,
Build your
right? Yeah, I
business.
gotta mind my business, right?
I'm so
But
busy doing that, I
so
don't have
so
time to look at nobody else.
but sometimes people them same people that get mad at you for trying to say something to their kid, you not minding your business right now, right?
Again, whenever that kid business directly interacts with me, now I am minding my business because that kid was disrespectful in my presence. So I can ask that kid to please be respectful to everybody around him because I have a daughter with me or I have a son with me and I don't want my kid to see you displaying that behavior. So I definitely go to your parents first. But the moment you come in my vicinity, because that kid over there and I ain't got nothing to do with him, he about to go jump off a bridge. You might want to go get your kid, but I'm gonna keep on minding my business. Because if he go jump over that bridge, I don't
See,
want my
see,
kid to see that story.
I think there I got to now that's gonna be mine in my business because the community I got to help save the community. So that's part of my business. So I would have to go stop him. See that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't really like that word of mind your business, right?
It's hard.
Yeah, no,
People be offensive
it's
about
hard.
their
Hey,
kids,
I'm
and
gonna
people
tell you
be
something I
trying to be
saw,
standing
man.
solid on their squares, and they want to go fight you about having your opinion if it don't line up with theirs. So you tend to get into more battles than you really need to, trying to be that hood community person when all you could really do is protect you and yours first and foremost, and everything that falls under your umbrella. I take a bunch of kids under my umbrella. So that means that I'm doing a whole lot of fighting all the time. I have kids that go through all kind of stuff. I had a kid that was abducted. I had just all kind of weird stuff that happened, and I'm there. You know what I mean? They could pick up their phone anytime they need me. I could be there if it's some advice or if it's some type of resources that I can provide. I can do everything in my power. But what I'm not gonna do is just keep on standing in the fire for stuff that I really shouldn't be in the
No,
front
no,
of
yeah,
when I got.
I ain't saying that.
Yeah.
Hey, I got you on that. Hey, but this the thing I'm talking about. Like my neighbor, he's a sergeant over at 77 Division, right? You guys don't know 77
What?
Division. That's one of the biggest divisions out in South Central LA. A lot of calls for as different communities, right? But anyway, a lot of gang violence within that precinct
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of it's from them.
Mm-hmm.
but but anyway, he's a sergeant over there at that precinct, and he said that he used to go check on this guy, little young guy in the Nicholson Gardens, and he
Mm-hmm.
used to take him places and try to bring him up. And he said then he got busy and he wasn't going over there as much. And then he heard he was in trouble once. He actually saw him and he helped him out. And then so he wasn't checking up on him for a while. He said, man, let me go check on this kid. He on his mind. He went over there, man, talked to his mama. She like, oh, you ain't heard? She like, what you mean heard? He like, yeah, no, he in jail. Like for what? He killed somebody, man. Little dude killed somebody, man. So stuff like that, man, is what I mean. Like when we start out checking on somebody, man, sometimes those little dudes appreciate that so much, man. And that's why like I go in my old community sometimes. I don't go as much. And then since COVID, I really ain't been going, right? But when I go around them, the conversations be different. Like I've seen them and seen somebody take a video of them chilling. I see what goes on, right? But when I come
Mm.
on, they say, "Hey, man, you know I'm in the refinery now," or they're like they talking about jobs and talking about good things, right? Because I'm the type of person that's what you talk about, right? They not talking about the hoodisms and what goes on, right? And who they into it with. They not talking about that type of stuff with me. They talking about doing better, right? So that's why we're needed, right? And that's the point I mean.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that note. But when I say I'm so busy focused on minding my business, like my plate gets so full with dealing with my general life. And when I try and put myself out there, I find that most of the time the adults, they're not worth my time. Most of the adults be so focused on getting their way out of life that they really don't want to hear anybody else's opinion. So I let adults be adults. I affect the ones that come to me for help, You know what I mean? If I can provide any type of assistance with what I've obtained, knowledge wise or resource wise, I try and help any adult that really want to help themselves. But when people come talking, acting like they want help, but then they actions show different from what they words say, you gotta let grown folks be grown. But
No,
when it comes
I
to the
agree. I agree.
babies, when it comes to the babies, I'm all out for the babies because those are the ones who don't really have, they don't drive, they don't make any decisions for themselves. They're basing their decisions off what the adults in front of them are doing. So I go all out for the babies because they're the ones that deserve it. That's why, as a coach, it ain't nothing that one of my athletes can ask me for that if I got it, they can't have. Because if that's helping them get to their goals, then I'll invest in that. But me investing into grown peoples who had the same amount of time on this planet as me to get what they need, and finding myself running myself thin of resources and time and everything else, letting other adults drain for their own personal use, and then the moment they get up, they like, oh, I'm on my own. Nah, I'm good. I don't need people like that. I can trust that the little ones, after they get up and they blossom and they don't really have no time no more, they'll remember what it took for them to get to that point, and they'll reach back and do the same thing for the next generation. Because that's what I want to build. I want to build a generation of young leaders that reach back and keep the next generation stronger than what they had it by setting a good example for them.
Yeah, I just worry about some adults, like even with my father, man. Like years ago, I always knew where my father was. He always knew where I was. We still was no communication. His
Mm-hmm.
brothers communicated with me more than he did. Like me and one of his brothers had the same birthday, so I used to get a card every year for him from him for a while. But once me and him was in the same state, we got along just fine, right? I actually was taking care of him. That could be part of the reason, right? But I was taking care of him, made sure he had everything that he needed, right? Like, but at the same time, sometimes, man, our fathers have gone through so much to where we don't know what they've been through and how they're dealing with it emotionally, right? So on my pop's deathbed, man, one of his friends that was his friends through the end, man, from when I was a baby, as far as I can remember, right, all the way up until he died, and this was about 6, 7 years ago, 8 years ago. Um, he called me. He got my number. His friend got my number, called me and said, "Hey man, you need to go see your pops." And he didn't say he said, "I think he's in the hospital. You need to go see him." And the way he said it, you knew it was like he wasn't gonna make it or I need to
It's
go.
time to move.
Yeah. So I told my sister what was going on, and me and my sister kind of the same, right? So I would lay in the bed and I'd be thinking about him, right? And then some said, "Call your sister." I like, "Hey, what you doing?" She like, "Nothing. I'm just sitting here." I like, "Shit, I just keep thinking about daddy." She's like, "Me too." And then a couple that went on for about 3 days. We both up at night thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? Same thing. We just didn't ask each other, right? We just like down
Kurt, your mic. Is it just me or is the mic change up?
there.
His mic changed up.
Gotta wait for me a little bit. How's that?
That's better.
So
What'd you say? What?
Problems.
hey, so we went down there, man, and the crazy thing about it is once we got in there, I was like, "Daddy, what's up?" He was in there like out, like had him drugged up and all that, and he looked at me, man, and was like, "Son, that's you." That's you, and he called me by my middle name, Drill. That's you. I was like, yeah, that's me. And then my sister, he hadn't seen her since she was like 2 years old.
Damn.
And she said, "I'm here too, Daddy." She like, "Monique." And the smile came on his face. He tried to get up. He trying to get up. The nurse came in and because the bell started ringing, she come in and like, "No, you got to stay down. You got to stay down." He like, "No, I need to get up. He's like, "I need to leave. I got to leave. I got to go hang out with them for a day." And he wanted to go hang with us for a day, man. Like, and that was almost heartbreaking, man. Like, and then talking to all the people, they were like, "Oh," so they was telling my sister that they thought she was a lawyer, and they were saying how good we was doing in life. So he was down there bragging about his kids,
As he should.
right? But he didn't really have firsthand knowledge.
It doesn't matter.
I
He was
get
still a
it.
proud
I get
father.
it.
He's still a proud
I'm big
father.
up on him, right? I'm big up on him, but at the same time, that's why I said we don't know what demons they're dealing with, right? So I don't know, man. I know I didn't took us off topic, but at the
No, you
same
ain't took us
time,
off topic. We on the same topic. We
right?
talking about our kings and what our kings really mean to us, because that's where it all starts with our fathers, our mothers. They're in charge of birthing and nurturing our generations, but it's up to our fathers to be in front, leading and raising our babies and raising our families, and that's a huge role to play. And we forget that so often because the women are fed so many responsibilities that they keep on eating them, eating them, eating them. Like, we have such strong queens, and I know we get into this not being able to melanated men and melanated women not being able to get along, and they feel like we need to go outside of our communities to get a submissive woman or whatever. But our queens are just as strong as any king out there, and they are capable of taking on almost every aspect of life on just as well as us, if not better than us in some states. In some stands, our queens can do stuff better than us. And we have to be, as men, comfortable enough in our manhood to know that, yo, your woman better at you than that, bro. Just be good at what you good at, and make sure you compliment her just like she should make sure she compliment you, to the point where y'all not having a friction. Because we get so caught up with the friction between male and female that we lose sight of what's really important. We're really here to raise generations. And if we're not raising those generations, and not just our kids, I just had one of my son's teammates come over, another young king. I have to make sure I'm still setting an example, and that those kids are in just as safe an environment as my children are. And we protect those babies like that, then we have a chance to have some undamaged children come out to the world to actually produce something healthy. We can't produce healthy generations if we don't produce healthy kids. We got to protect the babies.
Hey, you tell me how y'all feel about this, cause my kids' school, they sending 8 and 9 years olds on trips for a whole week without their parents.
Hell no.
Um,
I would not say I would not do it.
no,
No, mine ain't
no, no,
going.
I
no,
would
no,
do it.
no.
Like,
Hold
nope,
on,
you ain't
hold on.
going. Mm-mm.
Not a week. They sent my son went to a camp for
How
like
old?
three
How
days.
old?
He was fifth grade. He was fourth or fifth grade.
Okay.
And it was an overnight camp thing that they had. And it was the first time my son had ever spent the night away from me. And I was like, as long as they don't take my son's phone and he have access to call me at all time, and I can track my son at all time, and we make sure who's in the camp and he can show me film of everything that's going on, I'm good with that, because I know where I'm going to kill whoever I need to kill if anything happened to my child on that
See,
trip.
but that's how we started the conversation. But right, like talking about what must we do to protect, and see, that's that attitude. You just came out with it in full force, right? Like that's what I'm talking about. Like
Who
that's
do
what
we
we
need to
need.
hunt?
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, just understand this. If my child is like, when I drop my child off at school, it's the same protocol. Like, I leave my child at school, I send him or her unscathed, in good conditions, ready to learn. If anything happened to my child on your premises, every adult here is going to be responsible for it. Just know what you get when you get my child. You
See,
know, so you make sure you protect this child when you see him or her, because I'm going to protect this child, and you're going to see this face if anything happened. And you don't want to see this face in a bad light, because
now you
if
know what
anything
happens.
happened to my child, you know what's going to happen.
I like that, Trash. So just think, if every one of the males in our community thought like that, you wouldn't have the shit that's going on no
We
more.
Hey, we need to
Exactly.
start thinking about that, and we need to start thinking like that, and that needs to be the code instead of walking them down. Let's make that the code.
Right? See, because
Anything happen to my child, you're gonna see my face. That's the code.
I saw that dad say, you know, I don't know what to do. He stayed right next to us, and I get it if he planned for the cameras. I get that. You know what I mean? Like, he can't
Yeah,
just on TV say, oh, I'm gonna go kill him. I get all that, but
yeah,
at the
okay.
same
And
time,
he should have did it before the cameras even came out.
yeah,
Oh man, you shot at my son, you wouldn't have made it out that house, brother.
Exactly.
As simple as that. I'd
Or
have
hey,
let
kicking
that
down the
what?
door or something.
yeah,
No,
Hey,
no, the
hey,
bullet came through
I
this one.
watched them old westerns, man.
Boy,
I'm talking bow and arrow with with a fireball on it. Boom! You coming up out of there?
oh man, I would. Hey,
Hey,
I would have been on some coon shit. I was like, I just want to hug him and forgive
You a
him.
whole lie. There ain't no
I
way
just
in
want to
hell.
hug him and forgive him, and we
No.
can read a Bible scripture together. Just have him come on out.
And then
And
we
then
gonna
blow
come
his
knock
head
you
off.
over the head, knock some sense into you.
it's like
No,
this. I look at it like this.
Hey, I just want to get close to this individual so I can just murder him on camera.
No,
Yeah.
no, 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 no,
No,
no, no, no.
It
You
has
shot
to-
out the window.
it
You
has
shot
to-
out the
no,
window.
no,
We
it has-
shooting right back in that
No,
window.
no.
And everything we gonna
Listen.
keep on firing until something get burnt down. We gonna
No,
light
no.
that thing up.
It has to be
Believe
a
me, we got enough
precedence.
copper. We got enough copper out here.
It
We
has
finna
to be
go
a
drop some
precedent.
copper.
It has to be a precedence to this shit.
Bruh,
They
it's
gotta
gonna be
see.
precedence to this.
No, they
We-
gotta see
we
these
front door
motherfuckers
and back
die
door.
on their sword by us.
No, you gonna come in here
No,
fired.
they
No,
gotta-
look,
come
I
here
see
gotta
what
fired.
see-
Ali is talking about though,
they
because
gotta
they
see-
put it, they put them killing us on camera. We see
Like,
that every day.
every
we never
day.
see
I get
us
it.
returning nothing.
I get it. It
Nothing
sounds
but
good.
I don't want-
forgiveness
It
and
just
hugs.
don't work
and,
that way with me.
Hey,
Look.
When that shot came out, we'd have shot fire back
Right.
into that thing, and we'd have kept on firing until the thing was burnt down.
And
I
I'm like
promise
that
you
too. I don't think I would have been able to wait for cameras or
I have
nothing.
And we
'cause
wouldn't have
if
waited.
something
It
happened-
wouldn't
have
have
to
been
make a
no
split.
wait.
I'm gonna have to
No
make a
way.
spectacle of this shit. Point blank.
No,
Because look, my image will go out to the world. They didn't see you shooting back in the house and all of that shit. They don't see that. They don't see none of that. They see, they'll yes, they shot back in the house and blah blah blah, and they don't show none of that shit. They don't show us retaliating. They never show that. They always
Oh,
show us
no.
marching
They wouldn't have
and
to show
singing.
The police
I'm
would have
telling
pulled
you.
up on shots being fired. That's what the police would have claimed, drawn weapons because shots are being fired. That's what they would have pulled up on. It's a murder scene. They'll be trying to figure it out why these melanated men are outside burning this house down. And they have not stopped shooting because they haven't found the body yet.
Nah, I need to off with his head live on camera.
I
need-
I get
I
what
need to
you're
get
saying,
next
Ali.
to him, hold his head, and show it dangling like, yo, motherfucker. Hey, I need y'all to play that shit on Facebook and Instagram.
They ain't gonna do that.
100 million times how they showed
And the messed up
Floyd.
part about it is you
How they
wouldn't
show-
even make it off of that property. You wouldn't make it.
I don't care.
I'm not trying to
Right.
make it.
Hey,
No,
I'm not
no,
trying
no,
to make
I
it.
know that. I know that.
I'm just
But-
That's
saying
not the game plan.
it's gonna be a precedence. Like everybody gonna have their camera phone. It's gonna keep airing multiple times, and then they're gonna have to shut down Facebook and shut down Instagram because I didn't took this person's head and showed it to the world. Like, yo, you do this to a melanated black king or queen, a god or goddess. This is what's gonna happen, and they gotta play this shit worldwide, from Africa all the way to Asia. They gonna have to show when you fuck with a black body is what's that? It's on
It's
site.
gonna be problems.
Yeah.
It's gonna be problems. It ain't we got problems. You got problems.
But I'm just saying,
Again.
like, we saw Floyd. How many times they showed this man getting choked the fuck out? How many times they showed Brown, Mike Brown, laying in the street for 3 hours while his body decayed? You know what I'm saying? How many times they showed Tamir Rice getting gunned down 1.3 seconds? They didn't even get out the fucking car. You know what I'm saying? How many times we seen this shit? How many times over and over? Walter Scott, he was hands up and running away or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying?
You can go down a list of bodies that have been
I'm
taken
saying.
unjustly. You can go down a list of bodies that have been taken unjustly. But at the same time, when you start talking about someone firing on our child and the parents not pulling that father out of that house or going into that house by force and making sure I'd have been dead or he'd have been dead. One of the two. That's just how it go.
Here's one of the things. We should have pulled him out of the house and executed him and showed him on video.
I have no quarrels with that.
Just like they did in Afghanistan. When they took whoever, they hung him up, they dredge him, they do all kinds of heinous shit to that person.
Other countries have different codes though, and they
But
follow their codes based off of their religion. They follow their codes based off of their country
no,
way of living.
no.
And some of that
No, sit
stuff I
down.
don't agree with. I don't agree with how some of those countries move. I wouldn't want to be nowhere else. I'm kind of good where I'm at. You know what I mean? But where I'm at, we definitely got to move solid, and we can't allow things like that to go on. For someone to be able to almost attempt to assassinate a 6-year-old baby because of being angry about a bike in the front yard or whatever the case might be, allegedly try and assassinate baby, or however you got to say that to be politically correct.
Fuck all
But
this political correctness shit because
nah, you
I'm just saying
we still you
I'm
have to
I'm
play
at a
by the
point.
rules of the land. Where it's the public,
Look, man,
it's
you
the
got
private. You operating in the public right now. You
Hey, but
gotta understand where we at.
sometimes
all
those
that shit
rules
is
got
out
to
there
be thrown out the window. Yeah,
because
sometimes
You gotta understand. You don't
look,
operate privately
we've
in
been
public.
we've been trying to
tell
play
you,
their
Trav,
system.
I'm gonna tell you. You just told me the rules get thrown out the system because if something happened to your son, then you coming up there and all y'all responsible. So the
But
rules going out the window.
hey, I don't tell nobody else to do that. I'm
Yeah,
just telling you how I move.
listen.
Yeah, no, I
You
get
must
it.
file a complaint. You must file a complaint
Hey, they
first,
can do whatever they want to
and
do.
then trash. That's not how you handle things. You got to file a complaint.
Hey, you
Then
can
you got to
handle it
run it up
however
the
you
school
wanna do.
board. Then you got to go.
Hey, you can do whatever you want to do.
That's why I was
Touch mine, and you're gonna see this face. I'm not telling everybody else how to move.
I'm
I
not
can just
telling.
tell you
I'm
how I
telling you
move.
how I'm gonna move.
Hey, so when we have that, back what I was talking. So back what I was talking about earlier was we got to get happy with being in the mirror. We got to start eating right. We got to learn hand-to-hand combat, and we got to learn weaponry.
But hey, you know what? What kills me?
And then business.
You know what kills me? The same way they took this country, right? They took it by force. They took it by guns. They took it by torture and rape and all that shit.
It
But
didn't
the
start
moment-
like that. It
but the-
started with trinkets. It started
but-
with trinkets.
Nah, they came
It
over
started.
colonizing.
It started with
They
trade.
came over colonizing.
They started with trade,
Manifest
getting shiny
destination.
objects, getting shiny objects, trading that, and then they brought their friends. And then when their friends came, they brought Bibles.
Man,
And they said whoever don't do this and don't respect our Lord, then they have made enemies against our God, and whatever happens to them,
it was
it's on them.
It was an edict by the church saying people of not the faith, people that are not of the faith, are to be killed. So that's their edict. That's coming from the Vatican.
They spoke it in another language that our ancestors did not even speak.
Yeah.
So the tongue that they spoken in wasn't even registering valid until they start shooting.
But what I'm trying to get to is how they took over the land. They took the land and then say, oh no, we got to go through this. We're not going to do the violent thing. We're gonna be civilized. But that's not how they occupied and took over the land that was here or anywhere around the world. See, they do everything through violence. Just take for example what happened at the beginning of the year. They didn't plan it out. They didn't say, hey, we're going to have a protest at the Capitol. No, they went inside the Capitol. You know what I'm saying? They didn't get no charter or anything like that. They just did what they was going to do with guns.
But they followed code when they did that, though. You got to understand, they were all under one operating law. They weren't just moving randomly.
Every way, the same way they move right now, even through the police department, through the government, they on code right now. So,
hey, get like them. We need to get on code. Get like them.
Yeah.
Once you show that,
I don't disagree with them.
Like I said, once you show that, we don't give a fuck. We gonna protect our own. We gonna build. It has to be a president. It has to be a spectacle. Like, yo, we're not letting up for no reason. Like, why should we dumb down and be fucking slaves than to be the natural gods that we supposed to be?
Again, It happens so frequently. We're taught to dumb it down. We're
Of
taught that
course.
this is how we should be, and as long as that's what the teachings are, that's what we're going to continue
What
to
I'm
consume.
saying, it's gonna have to be a spectacle somewhere that's gonna show us like,
It's
yo,
it's a spectacle every day when you see another melanated man or woman being assassinated. It's a spectacle every day. Now the question is, what do you choose to do to be effective and actually do something that's gonna be beneficial to the next generation? Do you teach them to sit there and cry about it, or do you teach them to get up and protect their bodies? Do you teach your kids to be dangerous and how to really become the villains out here? If the victory, the
I
war
mean,
is won.
well,
History is wrote by the victors, right?
we
So
they
go win the
already
war.
painted us as the villains.
Go win the war. I don't care about being a villain. Go win
No,
the
I'm
war,
just
and we
saying,
can paint
like,
the story for however we want to paint it.
exactly. But for the most part, we've been painted as the villains. That's
We
why,
gonna be what they want us to be. We gonna be that. I can live with that. But what are we doing about it is the question.
yeah, that's at the core. The thing is, we have to protect. We got to build, protect and build. I mean, how many? I never seen these many murders of young boys who rap get murdered. You know what I'm saying?
But they made it part of the profit system.
Yeah, like they can dangle a bag. Hey, nigger, if you want to be rich, if you want to this, that, and the third, you gonna have to dance and sell white supremacy music. You gonna have to put in your lyrics how you gonna fuck over the woman and kill your brother.
Hey, so look, to that point you're talking about now, I don't really know the rapper name. I think his name Pooh Shiesty, maybe.
Oh
He's in
yeah,
jail for a shooting in Miami. And he was just on the million what's
million
Wallow's new
dollar worth of
podcast.
game.
Yeah, Wallow and Gilly's podcast, $1 million worth of game. He was on their show, and Wallow was breaking down to him how he should move, because if not, he gonna end up in jail. And that guy is in jail right now. Like, to track what Trash was talking about, some of these guys not listening. But we just got to keep putting that message out there. So now, even though this guy is sitting behind bars somewhere, now somebody can watch that $1 million worth of game video and say, shit, you got to straighten it up, man. He even told him. So now that person might learn off of this dude's failure, right? Hopefully he bounced back and come out of it, because evidently I think he was okay to have the gun, and the gun might have misfired. I'm not sure what's the details behind it,
I
but
don't
my
know.
point of the story was just that an old head trying to tell one of the young cats, and then they not listening.
Yeah, I'm like, how can we get everybody on code? That's one of the major things. Like, cause we not on code. We know we not on code to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people got to bump their heads before they get it. How
We got to
can
lead
we?
by example.
I'm just
I
saying.
I think lead by example.
But we're saying the same thing over and over again. I mean, we
I
gotta
get it.
build, we gotta do this, we gotta do that. But how are we getting it to the people? At
So
this
so
point,
so for me, it's I'm on in build mode, right? Like, the next thing, like, make sure my folks, my family, my immediate family, now my extended family, right? Like, we just got to keep extending that circle. And we do know that sometimes, if, like Trash was talking earlier, if we sit there and fight the people that don't really want to be helped, now look at us. We working together, because it's somebody, we in 4 different cities, or yeah, 4 different cities, right? 5 different cities with all of us, but we're working together and we're talking about the same things. So sometimes it might take us as groups to broaden that circle, just to start reaching more people, right?
yeah,
Because within my circle, I only can reach who want to be reached,
yeah,
right? Then now I got to stretch it out. Now I got to keep stretching it out. Man, I told you, I got a partner, man. I helped him, man, years ago, helped him get a job in another industry I was in. And man, this dude doing so good in life right now, man. Every time he buy a new car, he come show me and thank me for it. I'm like, dude, that's all on you. You doing the work now. The shit I done is over with,
yeah,
right? You done maintained this for 10, 15 years now, right? Like, so getting somebody to where they can start fishing on their own, not to where they need me to fish and feed it to them, right? Like that's the goal, is to. And then that's why I still like, I do believe we have to get the kids, but I still think like we got so many problems, right? We need to actually angles. We got to hit stuff from all type of angles.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, man, I fear. I don't fear. The thing I fear for our people is the people that dictate policy is gonna come up with some more heinous shit, and we ain't gonna be ready.
You already know that's gonna happen.
We're not gonna be ready. We're not gonna be where we need to be because of all the social engineering they're doing, everything they're doing.
So we need a handbook, right? Like I don't know if like here in
But
California.
then you gotta worry about the handbook getting into.
No, you don't have to worry about the handbook getting out because it's gonna get out. It's gonna get out. Like here in California, what was happening sometimes when some of the immigrants would come across, right? That's how they was finding their handbook. They had a handbook. Like they had a handbook when they got here to California, what they should do. They had agencies in that handbook to where that was going to give them food stamps, that was going to give them housing, where they can go, places they can go live, right? They had all this stuff in a handbook. I even heard a guy talking about years ago after slavery that it was a handbook for them when they was traveling the roads. I don't know if y'all saw that clip. Yeah, I can't remember what it was, but
it's a green book.
But they had this book. And then it told you like what gas stations even to stop at, right? So we need
hotels. All
we need a handbook, and it ain't hard. It's being happy with who in the mirror, eating healthy, physical conditioning, hand-to-hand combat, and all sorts of weaponry.
Of course,
and survival.
Yeah,
you gotta know plants and herbs and
yeah. So we need all of that.
And
like
teach
medicine.
them how to feed themselves. You need to teach them how to feed themselves. That's way important. Just knowing the planet and how the planet works for our body and how our bodies are perfectly designed for this planet. And we fall victims to not realizing that enough. We get so used to technology. We get used to
the new drug dealers,
luxuries that we become.
We get used to those new drug dealers
and
called the pharmaceutical companies.
Exactly.
Trash. That's a major key.
Legalize drug.
What? And that's something I always tell everybody. Like that's one way I teach my kids when it come down to, like, hey, them two girls. Okay, yeah, no, we gonna stick to nature. Right, we gonna stay with the nature thing, right? Like I get it. They're like some people get mad.
I really wish that our I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that probably was late
because I'm lagging over here, so don't worry about me.
But no, it's I just think we got to get back into
nature. I wish we teach our families how to start growing food again.
Well, there's a book for you, buddy.
Oh, see, I'm so late. It's late.
There's a new book for you. But yeah, shit. Let's create some courses. Grindaholic University. Let's get that shit popping.
Yeah, we need that. We need that
because it's like everything we coming up with the problems. We figuring out the problems. Now we gotta come with the solution. So let's get this train going. Courses.
Yeah, we should have a survival guide, right? Like in that survival guide.
Because I got a white supremacy guide. What I heard on the broadcast, and they gave out the article, and I went and looked it up. I'm like, damn, they're using so and so as this facility where they was gonna put black and Latino bodies in, and all kinds of crazy shit. I think it's like N31 or some shit like that. I'll find it and I'll let y'all know about it. But it's crazy. If I looked up and got that information, just imagine how much more material that's out there.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. so they not worried about who hands are getting in. That's why I said we just got to make sure it's getting in our hands and don't worry about who hands is getting in. Because once you know the survival techniques and the guide and the structure of surviving, then nobody know how you're gonna use it. right? People won't know how you're gonna use it or when, right? It's got to be like I remember in the riots here in '92,
Hey,
right?
quick question. Do you know why we have highways?
Um,
What's the
The Nazis
significance about
start
the
building
highways?
highways to start moving. Yeah, to be able to move tanks and stuff.
Yeah, it's for
To be
military
able to
movement.
move supplies.
Military movement.
Yeah,
So,
that's what the Germans got that. They was the one. That's what the
no,
Autobahn and
actually,
all
that
of that
started
was
that
about.
that started since the olden days. What's that? Italy. What was that group? It was in the Greeks. It was the Romans. The Romans created like some major highways for their soldiers throughout the Mediterranean. But that's how they built these highways. But I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead and
No, no, and it's kind of crazy. So even taking it back to the riots, even when that happened, I'm gonna tell you some stuff that happened, right? When the riots happened, I watched as you saw certain stuff happening around the city, and then it got bigger and bigger and bigger, right? And then one of the things they did was they circled us around and entrapped us within the community, right? So
Hmm.
automatically, like I know, I was telling my
National
cousin them,
Guards.
like, man, no, we gotta have motorcycles. Each family should have a couple of motorbikes, right? And I ain't talking Harleys. I'm talking you need some dirt bikes.
yep,
You should have a couple of dirt
off-road
bikes in your
terrain
To
family.
get away.
Yeah,
vehicles.
yeah. So you can move, man. So you can move. Cause just think, if anything happened in the city, you're going
A
the
lockdown.
freeway's gonna pack up. Yeah, and one thing they did with the freeways was the police started blocking off the entrance and the exits
Yep,
during the riots, right? They was blocking off the entrance and the exits so far in our community, so you can't get on the freeways. So
yep,
now you got to be on the streets, and then they start putting up checkpoints, and then they start like arresting people, right?
yeah.
But anyway, but we gotta learn to move, man. And one way is to have survival mode, like for sure. Like I said earlier, teaching our kids
And if you
every
notice, they
moment.
gave a few test runs, right?
Of course, they always giving out test runs.
We just don't
It
see
keeps
them.
on delaying for me, y'all. So
Yeah, we see it.
look,
Go ahead,
No,
talk.
I'm gonna sit here and be quiet.
we always see those
No, I'm
test
gonna
runs,
sit here and be quiet because it's
we
delaying.
but we don't play them for what they are, right? Like they'll do a what they call those a triage, right? They'll do a big citywide fucking triage, and everybody like, oh, they just doing a practice run, right? Like, no, they getting ready for shit.
They always doing test runs.
And
That's
we
how
should
we.
stay ready.
That's how we train in the military. You know, you just don't do this shit by accident and stuff. Nah, you train how you gonna perform in real time. And so you remember, Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. You had to do certain things. We don't have that in the black community. You know what I'm saying? We don't have, and I speak on this like a rites of passage for the man and the woman. I mean, for the girl and the boy when they come up to age.
That's why
Every
we need
other
that handbook.
we need to get on code with some of this shit. Everything we
We
talking
need a
about.
handbook. Yeah, no, I agree. Like every culture, when somebody's turned 12, 13, they got something they have to go through, right? When they're born, they have something they go through, right? Like we don't have that. We just have everything is fending for yourself.
Yeah.
Like we really don't
Pushing our kids out at 18. Oh, you got to go fend for yourself and shit.
yeah, no,
While
that's the
while
weirdest thing ever.
yeah, and our counterparts, no, we gonna build this up, and then once we find you a maid or whatever, then we gonna send you out, and you're gonna have a house down the street or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I just
Hey,
see it's crazy when you look at other cultures around the world, not just in the United States, but like the different cultures, like in Africa and India and China. You know what I'm saying? They go through or the Middle East, they go through a process, and I think we object to that You know what I'm saying? Like, oh nah, when you get 18, you free, you wild, you can do whatever, but there's consequences to all that. You know what I mean?
Well, one of the things we need to do, man, is really we need a real history lesson. We need a real history lesson in the families because I still honestly believe that soon as our kids go to school, they the first thing they teach them about is slavery, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
And
the
once
first
you
thing they can teach them about.
but so we should already have them ready past that,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Like so they can understand that no, life didn't start as me being a slave, so cut that out, right?
exactly.
Like
But
so
that's the narrative that they have to keep up to keep their storyline going to what they have us falling into, to keep their system working the way it's working. They have to have us under that narrative because then that's where their story starts to become true.
but we can change that in our own households.
We should change that every day in our households. That's what we wake up telling them that they're young kings and young queens for, so they don't get caught up talking about they little niggas or
Yeah, hey, but so I
steppers or
love all
whatever
of
they
that.
want to call it.
I love all of that, but we actually have to give them facts. So
Yeah,
when somebody question them, they can run it off like we can run it off, right? Like, no, this person was the richest person in history. This person created the blood transfusion, right? They not teaching all that stuff, right? Like like I think 50 Cent said one time, man, you know, man, I can't be a big component of business school because if business school was so good for the professor, he shouldn't have time to teach that shit because he running all his businesses, right? So
That's
businesses,
true.
right? He like, man, no, man, that's crap. So you can learn more on trial and error. And then it's
yep,
another thing. The reason I say every moment should be a teaching moment, man. I was listening to this guy speak one time, and he said, man, the difference in our communities is that because what we talk about at our dinner tables, right? A lot of time we don't have that dinner table no more, right? Where everybody eating at the same time,
yeah. It's
right?
always
Not you,
microwave.
not you trickling in and eat, and then I trickle
You
in
know
and eat.
why though?
No, because everything's fast paced. But
We
we need,
allow it to be.
yeah,
It's
no,
fast
we need
paced
to,
where you allow it to be fast paced. When you slow it down in your household, it can be slowed down.
and that's what I'm saying. So we need to get there, and then the conversation got to be right. The conversation can't be about what we saw on TikTok, right? The conversation got to be about stocks, about bonds, about real estate,
Options.
about credit, about options, right? That's what the conversation has to be about. So now the little kids can grow up knowing. But anyway, this guy that I was listening to, he talked about how a black kid, and he didn't say black kid, he said somebody from any other group can grow up in a bad neighborhood, and he can grow up and get a master's degree. He can grow up and get a doctor's degree, and then he can still struggle his whole life, even though he's living good to most people. But he's still living paycheck to paycheck because he's in that cycle of what he knew from home. He still
Yep,
didn't get out of that. He just did better,
Hmm.
yep.
right? But that kid, say that white kid that was in a rich family, that all they talked about was stocks and all that, he can go and not go to high school, drop out of high school, don't go to college, and he could be a drifter or whatever they call him, right? And then when he finally decided to get his shit together, he can start moving because they always talked business and he knows business.
And plus, she has a complexion.
Right? No,
For
I get that. I get that. But
yeah,
but see, I can't use the excuse. I know the system is designed
we know it's
against
rigged.
us, right? I know that,
We
but
know
I
it's
can't
rigged.
use no excuse. Yeah, I got to work 3 times harder than you. Okay, I'm
Ten
up for the
times,
challenge.
But you
10
shouldn't
times.
have to.
Okay,
You should
okay,
not have
okay,
to.
okay, but I'm
Well,
up for
we
the
know that.
challenge. See, that's gonna be the difference. I'm up for the challenge. Yeah, see, I already know now that okay, you got a book out. Oh no, this guy's an author. Okay, you're not saying nothing. I got 10 books out.
Yep.
Right? I get it. I got to work 10 times harder than you. And you know what? Let's go on and hold me to that because I'm the God, not you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm the king, not you. So I get it. Right?
Hey,
And
how we
man,
say? What's the highest belt in karate in martial arts?
you see what I'm saying? The black belt. I love that. Right? Right? So and we don't have to go no farther than that, right? Like when you really look at that, that's the way it's designed. right? So I'm looking at like whatever your challenges is, I'm finna work within your system to create me a system. And when I work within your system to create me a system, I'm gonna figure out a way that you don't get paid off my system. That's the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
How can I work this system to create my system to stop this system from eating off me?
Pimp
And
yourself, essentially.
right. And once we can do that, I think Nipsey Hussle said we got to vertically integrate. Right. So, and the meaning behind that is that when I start my business, right now, me being in the credit space, okay, what can I do next? I'm gonna have my own credit card that I offer. Right now, I got my own funding that I back these credit cards with. Right, like we got to own the whole process. So if we're doing books, right, the Butterfly Bully, she's our editor. We got somebody else that's formatting our books. We even got somebody else that's printing our books. Right now, we have somebody that's marketing our books. Right, nobody else can eat off our books.
Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach him how to fish, he'll eat forever.
Right. So once we vertically integrate, man, then other systems can't eat off our system. And then now, how do we spend our money? Like, do I spend my money on gold? Yes, I get it, because that's a good commodity, right? But do I buy those flashy diamonds? I say no. Do I buy all these flashy tennis shoes? Okay, if you can afford them and like them, yeah, if you got the money to do that, yes, that's okay. But what am I doing on the other side? Right? What am I investing in? Right? Am I teaching my son how to invest? Am I teaching him how to do these properties? Right? Like it don't even matter if I ain't teaching them, because what'll happen is I can create all this wealth and then they're gonna spend it up and don't even have it for their kids. But if I create the wealth and then teach them, then they're gonna do the same thing. Like one of my friends own a store, right? Him and his brother, I love them because they take shit, like even little stuff I told them over the years, they now taking massive action, right? One of them owned his barbershop. He bought the building. Right? So you can't gentrify him. He might have to leave because y'all got gentrified. right. So he still might have to leave because all y'all got put out, right? But he don't have to sell his place. He can sell it to he can rent it to somebody else.
Yep.
Right. So that's the key. And then his brother have a store. So when I see them doing that, when they kids come up, now they kids got to figure out how to get 2 stores, 3 stores. Right. That's the name of the game. Let me figure out how to make this a franchise. Then I let in who I want to let in. Right. So we got to learn to vertically integrate. And then now I buy my products from whoever have products. Right. Like if Trash got nothing but vegan vegetables, okay, that's who we buying our vegetables from. Right now, where am I buying the syrup from? Okay, I know this black-owned syrup company over here. I know now we circling the dollars. Now when we have to spend outside of that, now people are coming in and say, hey, look, this is what we can do for you guys. I know y'all getting this, but we're gonna make it good for you. Okay, well, what about our guy we get it from? Well, what we can do is then we can offer it to him, right? Like either way to let you in. I think what Killer Mike said one time in Atlanta. He said, man, the way we rock in Atlanta, he said, either you put money back into our community, you hire people from our community, or you not rocking in our community.
Yep. Shut you down.
Shut you down.
But I know y'all seen he had his episode on Netflix, and he showed like what happened to all the black businesses and stuff, and how far he had to travel.
He was trying to deal with nothing but black-owned businesses.
And the thing is, we've been gentrified. So for black businesses, for where it used to be black business used to be within the vicinity of one another, now you got to travel to different parts of the city just to get a black-owned product.
Hey, look, I'm going to tell you something. Hey, quiet as it kept, in my opinion, we need that. And this is why. Because once we build a whole community, then they figure a way to shut it fucking down. Right?
Yeah.
But if we spread out a little bit.
I understand your concept. It's almost like you don't want
don't break it before we get on.
You don't want the buns be dropped on your whole community in one single location. Yeah. But if you sprinkle it amongst them, you know, you
or just sprinkle it, right?
I'm
We
just saying
sprinkle it.
if you sprinkle it around amongst them, then it'll be hard for you to just drop bombs unless y'all purposely doing that shit.
Hey, so another thing we got to start doing is become our own distributors, right? Like if all of us had a store, right, and we was in different communities, now somebody got to say like, okay, Trash, you get the veggies dirt cheap. Now you supposed to bring me veggies, right? We all got the same type of stores. You supposed to sell me veggies because you know where they dirt cheap. Now I get this other product. I must make sure I get all that product to you guys. Right
You
now
got to
I
practice
go
nepotism.
right there we go. And that's the way it works, man. That's the way we make this game work. If not,
Bartering amongst our community.
And we
yeah,
gotta
if
get
not, it
real
don't work.
good logistics.
We have to grow our food. That's
Yeah.
important. We have to grow our food. We got to stop leaving our food in someone else's hands, because as long as someone else is growing our food, they control our health.
Yep.
Exactly.
Hey, so
So
so so when I talked about eating healthy, that's something is growing our food and then learning how to fast. Like I'm not good at it at all, so I got to learn to fast.
I'm learning, bro. And I'm gonna tell you like this. That was probably one of the most clearest times in my life, going on a 5-day water fast. It was probably some of the best clarity I've ever received in my life. And it wasn't until then that I really kind of got my stuff in gear, moving towards where I wanted to go. I did it at the end of last year, first time ever just going a straight water fast. And it changed a lot, like a lot about me. I cleaned my spirit out, I cleaned my body out, I cleaned my mind. And when I went back at it, I was like, okay, I could do this. I was more comfortable. I was ready to move. I was efficient with how I was moving, and it made sense.
So with us doing that, like I see people talk about even eating once a day or maybe even every
Hmm
2-3 days. Like,
Intermittent fasting.
yeah, if we
Yep.
can get to where we fasting like that, you know how much money we'll save, how healthier we'll be. Like it's so many benefits, right? Like,
It's a lot of benefits to it, a lot of benefits to it, and I highly recommend intermediate fasting just to get your body acclimated to doing a real water fast or a liquid fast or something like that. I would highly recommend intermittent fasting to go ahead and get your body prepared for it, and then it's just a good discipline anyway for your body that you're not really
Yeah, because you don't
sitting
supposed to
there.
be eating food like that. Your body supposed to be
eh,
able to digest all that shit out.
hey,
You're supposed to be
I'm
hydrating
finna go
like
on a
that.
Yeah.
parasite detox.
Mm.
Hey, the worms. Feed the worms. You
Yeah.
want healthy worms in your
I, I
body.
I just did the tea. I got one last batch sitting right now. I'm finna go strain it, put it in the
Oh.
refrigerator, then I'm gonna warm it up, have a cup. He actually told me to have 2 cups a day. Then once I go about 3-4 days, then go 1 cup. And I'm gonna keep this regimen. Actually, I'm gonna get with him and see what I can get to where I can get a mixture. Because he got the COVID pack too. I think he called it a flu pack.
Mm.
Uh, hey, that's one day we got to have Dr. Bashir on, man.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
knew
yeah. Of
that's who you
course.
were talking
Yeah,
about
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
yeah.
So,
Doc.
so, but anyway, I got a few packs. I've been getting my packs from him, and I think I like it. I think it's working. I think I feel the difference.
Yeah.
Right?
He's a
Hey,
solid dude.
this one hit me so tough. I was in there. I let it sit so long, it had the whole house going, and I kept going in there smelling the pot, and I think it did something to me just smelling it.
And that's where it starts off. Honestly, that's where it starts off. The vapors in your nasal passage, that's exactly where you want it to start off. If it's a good tea, you're supposed to be able to inhale it, and then it gets into your lungs from the vapors. And then when you drink it and it gets to your gut, it starts to do even better work.
Yeah,
But
no,
yeah, that's where
I
it
think I
starts with the
felt it.
vapors.
But yeah,
If
no.
it's the
So
right one,
I'm finna get on that, man, and I'm finna get on the fasting. I got to get back to my juicing, and then I'm gonna
good
start
health,
back to
baby.
the
Now we
one
talking
meal a
good
day.
health. That's wealth, man.
Yeah,
Come on,
yeah,
that's good wealth
yeah.
right there. That's when you start talking your real money. When you start talking about being healthy, I remember the two things that Warren Buffett says he values more than anything. And Buffett got bank, but what he values more than anything is his health and his time. That's why he works 5 minutes from his office, and he drives right down the street to his little company and do his business, get done, then go home for the day and live a simple life. But he got his health and he got his time. So that's more valuable than anything else. Everything else comes, but if you can't be healthy enough to do it when it gets here, or you ain't got the time to do it when it get here, you can have $1 billion, but your head can be running up a company's ass and you can't do nothing with it. You know what I mean? Be able to have your time to be able to move freely. That's the most valuable thing. And to be able to move your body, all your extremities, your body works well, your skin is hydrated, your food, your body's digesting, getting rid of the waste, eating the food and using the food. Then you actually winning out here. Not a lot of people winning like that.
Ollie looked like he froze.
Yeah.
I was like, shit,
just-
he either sleep or froze.
Nah, I was looking. I'm like, oh man,
I was like, oh man, that
I
ain't
just pulled
Ollie,
up
he a
another
clone.
tab.
That ain't Ollie, he a clone. He went through that whole little.
Is there?
We at 135 now.
Yep. I was just so we got problems and we got solutions. Please hit the like, subscribe button. We about to build up another level. So next week you're gonna start seeing some real fly shit. So also if you want to get on, let us know. You can hit us up on our not Telegram, but on Instagram. We got problems. And we'll be sure to get back to you if you want to be interviewed or whatnot, or you want to hang in. But hey, you got to be upright and forthcoming. We don't play that bullshit. So we love y'all. To close us out, Kurt, you got something?
Hey, if anybody want to reach me, you can reach me at Curtis Martin 247, or you can reach me at www.curtisgmartin.com. And you guys just make sure get on code, right? Start teaching your family.
Trash, what you got?
Oh, you can get at me at thetrashvegan.com, or you can go ahead and catch me on my gram at the_trash_vegan_ at Instagram or Twitter, the same thing. So more than anything, let's get in the mirror and do that mirror work, folks. You know, it starts with yourself. You can't help nobody until you can help yourself. And our babies are our future. If you don't value anything else, value yourself, and please value your children and respect their time just like that you expect them to respect yours. And let's see where we get with that.
And last but not least, we got Butterfly Bully.
At Butterfly Bully on IG or Ronda Rights Official on IG, RondaRightsOfficial.com, thestorytopaintlady.com. I protect your babies. That's all I can say at all costs.
And we got intro to crypto LLC.com. That's the Bitcoin bully. Unfortunately, tonight he was preoccupied with business. Or if you're in the Vegas area, make sure you go to Scott T's World and set up an appointment to get you a haircut. Now, at grindaholic.com, what I'm thinking about doing is running for commemoration of Juneteenth, and also all the black fathers out there. Well, for Father's Day, I want to run an ad, $500. $500 for a website. So
That's dope.
and that's only for a week. So
Oh yeah, we all doing our Father's Day sales. Let's get it. I
Yeah.
got a Father's Day sale going up. We finna put up a sale. We going
Yeah.
on sale. We
So-
going on sale.
I'm giving it half off. So tap in. If you need help with your credit, hit up Curtis. If you need help with trying to become the best you, hit up Trash Vegan. If you need a book done, you got to hit up the Butterfly. If you need to know about them cryptos, hit up Bitcoin Bully. I'm telling you, we're about to do some bitch shit. So by the end of the year, you're gonna see our growth. Right now, we're just out of test mode. So you're gonna be seeing some more fly shit across the board. So we about to flood your Instagram. We about to flood your Facebook. And any
All
other
in your
social media.
videos.
All in your videos.
Come to We Got Problems.
Yes, sir. We love y'all. Great night.
Peace.